Hey guys, welcome to FM Driving School. In today's video, we're going to go through some of the latest driving theory tests. And you're with me, your fully qualified driving instructor. I myself am going to give you some insight into how to answer these questions. So let's go through it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So the first question is, what does tailgating mean? As I said, as a fully qualified driving instructor, let's see if I can get this right with you guys. Reversing into a parking space, following another vehicle too closely, driving with the rear fog lights on, using the rear door of a hatchback car. So I'm going to go for this one. Let's check the answers. Correct. The tailgating is the term used when a driver or rider follows a vehicle in front too closely. It's dangerous because it restricts their view of the road ahead and leaves no safety margins if the vehicle in front needs to slow down or stop suddenly. Tailgating is often underlying cause of rear end collision or multiple pileups. So basically saying when a car is in front of you, say you're driving in front, the car behind you, sorry, is way too close. Okay, let's go to the next question. Next, okay. What should the driver of the grey car, Aaron, be especially aware of? So this car here, traffic following behind, the uneven road surface, possibly, empty parking spaces, door opening on parked cars. I would say the door opening because, as you can see, even though the road surface is uneven or could be uneven, it's quite hazardous if a car was to suddenly open the door because the road is quite restrictive. Let's go for this one. Let's see if the answer is correct. Correct. Okay. When passing parked cars, there's a risk that a driver or passenger may not check before opening the door in the road. A defensive driver will drive slowly and be looking for people who may be about to get out of their car. So, defensive driver, let me explain that term. Defensive driving is when you're being a bit cautious as you're driving. Let me think of another example in my head. Defensive driving. Okay, I'll come back to that in a bit because I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. Let's just go to the next question. All right, next. Why must you take extra care when turning right at this junction? Obviously, okay, let's not make obvious yet. The footpaths are narrow. The view is restricted. This is the one I think. The road surface is poor. The road markings are faded. So when turning right, because of this wall, you cannot see. So again, as a driver, forget being an instructor. When you start driving in your driving lessons, you're gonna start picking up these little things because it's more practical. Me saying the answers and you've never driven a car before might be a bit more difficult to understand that point than with someone who's driving. Let's check the answer anyway. Hopefully I'm correct. Oh yes, I'm correct. All right. You may have to pull forward slowly until you can see up and down the road. In driving terminology, that's known as peep and creep. So when you start driving, you'll get to learn that. Be aware that the traffic approaching the junction can't see you either. So the car turning into the road, the car from here turning in. If you don't know that it's clear, don't go. If you can't see, don't go. Again, we teach that in our practical driving test. Alright, let's go to the next question. I think the audio might have been slightly poor, but hopefully it's better now. Okay, how will a school crossing signal you to stop? A school crossing. Okay, by a display red light, by pointing to children on the opposite pavement, by displaying a stop sign, okay, by giving you an arm signal. So I think commonly they're known as a lollipop lady, right? So if you remember, or if you're young enough, not young enough, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're gonna be slightly older. Um, but if you're older and you're young and you can remember the days when you were young, they used to have this lollipop, so this stop sign. That's what I'm going for. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, guys, please don't hate me. All right. Let me just double check. By displaying a red light, by pointing to the children to the opposite side of opposite pavement. I'm gonna go for this one. Let me just
by displaying a stop.
Okay. Check answer. Oh yes. Okay. If a school crossing patrol steps out into the road with a stop sign, you must stop. Don't wave anyone across the road, and don't get impatient or rev your engine. This is quite an important point here when you're learning to drive. As I said, theoretically, when you're learning, yes, it's all well and good, but practically, you can learn a lot more because you're experiencing it. So don't wave anyone across the road. In a driving test, as I said, I'm a fully qualified driving instructor. I've sat with a lot of people in the car doing the test. Now, the reason, if you read into the theory, why you can't wave people across, if you were to wave someone across and that person was to have an accident, they will blame you. You're the reason why they crossed, but you don't know who's fully like around you. You might not see maybe a bike behind, like a moped, or not like a bicycle, maybe a bicycle, like a car, like a motorbike driving through, and they may accidentally hit the person because you're restricting their view because of your car, and the people can't see the bike because of your car, and you're waving them across. You're thinking it's safe, but they can't see everything. Let the person make the decisions, not you. Funny enough, one of my students, she bought a car a day before her test, and someone waved her across, like a bike waved her across. As she drove through, somebody else came through and she hit that car. And I said to her, she was still new, she was learning with a family member. I said, if someone waves you across, again, practically speaking, you have to look thoroughly. It doesn't mean it's safe if someone waves you across. Anyway, that's a little bit of a hint of when you're learning to drive practically. Let's go to the next one. Alright guys, so I'm on question 5. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe with FM Driving School with all the latest videos. I'm not really timing myself purely because I have to explain a few things, but if you're doing the practical practice test, do time yourself. What should you do when you see two elderly pedestrians about to cross the road ahead? Ooh, here we go. Be careful, they may misjudge your speed. Stop and wave them across the road. What did we just speak about in the last question? So that's clearly out the question. Speed up to get past them quickly. I'm sure you guys have seen drivers do this. Expect them to wait for you to pass. So practically speaking, when you're driving, you might do this, speed up, because you see people do it. You might think that's probably the best course of action. Expect them to wait for you to pass. Another misconception is you're going to think that they're going to wait for you. They might, maybe they haven't seen you, or maybe they think they can make it. Be careful, they may misjudge your speed. So out of the three, clearly this is a safer option. Generally speaking, again, let me tell you, as a driving instructor or anybody driving, the rule of the road is anybody on the road, you have to now give them priority, even though it's your priority. Generally, let's say it's a zebra crossing, you have to wait. If there's no zebra crossing and someone crosses the road now, and if you were to carry on, you would hit them. Now priority changes, you have to wait. So even if it's not a zebra crossing, now you have to wait. So I would say be careful, they may misjudge your speed. Let's go on that. Let's press check answers. I'm quite confident. Go on. There we go. Older people may have impaired hearing, vision, concentration. I wouldn't say older. It doesn't matter if they're older or younger or middle age. Concentration and judgment. They may also walk slowly and so could take a long time to cross the road. Alright. Guys, you can find all these questions online. Just Google it. You can also buy their DVDs and CDs online as well. Or you can carry on watching the videos with me. We're going to go through it together. And when I can, I'll give you some knowledge, some insight from myself, your fully qualified driving instructor. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe with FM Driving School.